welcome
everybody.
Welcome back to another episode. Two guys, one mic. Let's go. Again, here with me again is Stan. Hello.
I'm back.
Today we got a couple articles that we're going to be talking about real estate, of course. What else are we going to talk about besides real estate? Real estate's the best this has ever been. We're going to be talking about, for the first time in 5 years, mortgage rates above 6% outnumbers sub 3% mortgages. Kind of ties in with home buyers' power is up $30,000, and what that means for the spring market. Good old Compass and Rocket partnership to expand listings on Redfin. And good old Daddy Trump at the State of the Union, and a couple reels that we saw that we thought might be interesting.
Nice.
Anything you want to start off with first, Stan, before we get into it?
No, not really. I mean, it's March.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kickoff.
Yeah. The spring season
That's
is
right.
coming up. It's upon us.
I can feel it. I can smell it. Inventory will be rising. If you're out there buying or looking to buy, this is a great time to really start hitting hard. Make sure all your ducks in a row, because that right house will rear its head. And if you're not ready, somebody else is going to snag it up.
I mean, we've already seen a lot of activity going on right now with houses selling in a week or two and going under contract very quickly.
Yeah, in fact, I've noticed some of the ones that expired last fall immediately going pending, getting relisted and pended.
Yep.
And I think it was buyers that were kind of, not sure, whatever, making that decision going, hey, that house was actually the right one.
Yep. So. And people making, like you said last time, making their own inventory. I mean, shoot, I was looking at expired listings as well for a couple clients of mine.
Right.
To see.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yep.
However, we're going to get into it. For the first time in 5 years, mortgage rates above 6% have overcome sub 3% loans. I think so. This shows a little graph here of all the loans that are under 3%. And all the ones that are above 6%. I think this is construed, because still most of the mortgages under 4%, because you have 3.3 to 3.99 right here, still superseding even both of them, right? I think it's good. It's bringing us back to a balanced market.
Yes.
I mean, the lock-in effect that everyone's been stuck with is kind of loosening a little bit, because people are making the moves. People are finally getting normal interest rates again, as opposed to these 2%, 3% interest rates.
Yes.
Right. Stan, what are your thoughts on this whole mortgage rate?
Here's my spin.
Yeah. What is your spin?
It was going to happen, right? It's got to happen. I mean, it's taken 5 years.
Yeah.
But people are still buying real estate. It's not like we hit this big slump.
Mm-hmm.
All we had was shock and awe, basically. People went from, oh, man, I can lock in a 3 or 4% interest rate all day long. And then they went up to a normal level.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, even right now, I mean, we're like 6-ish%, give or take. I mean, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And we've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just caught up finally.
Yeah.
The buying and selling of real estate didn't stop.
No.
And especially in our area, the new construction, they were going crazy the whole time. They still are.
Yeah.
So builders must have known something was going on. They knew that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Sure, things slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
It didn't stop. So, yeah, to me, that's all I'm reading on that. I'm not seeing anything crazy or surprising about it.
Even with going back to the good old crash of 2008, I mean, real estate didn't stop at that time either. People were still buying and selling houses. If I remember correctly, I saw a statistic that 4.5 million transactions occurred between 2008 and 2009, regardless of what the financial crisis happened. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, it was awful. It was a bloodbath. However, that's
the best way to put it, the bloodbath, because it really was. I mean, it was a true loss of equity situation for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't. You're right. It did not stop.
Yep.
So it couldn't stop. I mean, even the banks taking back houses, they have to unload those assets to be able to continue to loan money
Yeah.
and be able to do what they do as a bank.
Yep.
So they're not in the business of holding houses.
Exactly.
So every asset manager I talked to during that time period, it's like, we don't want to hold this thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're in the business of making money off of money, not off houses, right?
Yep.
They lend money for a reason. But I mean, I think this just goes back to of people reevaluating their priorities, right? Of what's more important, this interest rate that we got locked in at 2%, 2.5 or whatever, or do we need that extra bedroom or that extra 1,000 square feet for our growing family, or that better neighborhood, or do we have too much and we keep falling down the stairs, we need to downsize? What are people's priorities and what are they trying to accomplish at the end of the day?
Mhm.
Because no matter what the market is doing, people are still going to be selling and buying houses.
that's right.
And so just realignment of priorities, I think a matter of time, in due time, took 5 years, like you said, for people to come to that conclusion of we can't stay here anymore, either X, Y, or Z.
Yep. And some people came to that conclusion a lot sooner than others. I mean, so yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not a big surprise to me.
And that's why it's a lot loosening up that lock-in effect that everyone's been talking about for the last couple of years, because people had these low interest rates. They felt like they couldn't move.
Mhm.
But finally they decided to make that move. And now we have more people. It's about 21.1% of people who have a mortgage is above 6%.
Right.
And it kind of ties into the next article of home buying power is up $30,000 because we're under 6%
Yes.
for a brief moment there.
It was 5.98 or something on Friday, or a few days ago.
Mm-hmm. So the median income household can now afford a $331,000 home, up $30,000 from a year ago, according to the Zillow analysts. Obviously, it's still a big jump. Obviously, different markets, different what that means for you and what you can buy. Right here, what are we looking at for a house that's $330,000, Stan?
Manufactured home.
Well, something that's starting with a 3. We're just talking about the Arc right over here.
Yeah, that's right. The Arc. There is new construction. They're on small lots, but you get a new house.
Yeah,
Builder warranty.
Starter home for sure. It's 1,100 square feet. I think they do have like a 900 square foot option as well.
Mhm.
I think it's a 2-bed, 1-bath, but that's in the lower 3s as well. But you're buying a townhouse pretty much, or a condo. Yep. Out here, just getting into the market. Probably not going to be. It's not going to be your forever home. What we were talking about, right? Like last time, Stan.
It'll be a good investment, good starter place, build some equity, not be paying rent. So that's really what that market is, at least here.
Yeah, and with the national rates, what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac was showing was that dip under 6% last week at 5.99, right?
Mhm.
Our lender that we know, Keith, he's a mortgage broker. He sends out us weekly updates of what he's quoting people, right? And from last Friday, for conventional 30-year fixed, he was quoting people from 5.5% to 5.8%. That's what the 5.8% is on the high side for 5% down. But if you had 20% down on a conventional 30-year, the high side was it was at 5.5 flat.
That's freaking awesome.
It was better than what the going rate was, right?
Oh, heck yeah.
And for FHA and conventional, he was seeing as low as 5.125% that he was locking people. For FHA, for 3.5 down, it was up to 5.92%. And obviously that determines by credit scores.
Right.
And whatever else you have. But on the high side for VA, it was up to 5.39%, which is still well below what the national average was of that 5.99%.
So if you want to get hooked up with Keith, give us a call.
Yeah. He was on our other episode a couple weeks back.
Yep.
But anything you want to add into this, into the affordability of what we're seeing for the buyer activity?
Again, commonsensical, right? Rates lower, buying power goes up, provided pricing doesn't go up. And there's that fine line we're heading into, right? Yeah. I was just talking to a buyer yesterday, and I I told them, I said, we've got this window to really take advantage of good pricing right now because the market is still, it's moving, but it's not moving like gangbusters, not like 2020, 2021. I think once people make that decision it's like, because there's a whole group of them that are got these great rates. It's like, still don't want to sell, don't want to sell. But now we're talking fives, maybe low fives for interest rates. That's enough to cause people to say, you know what, it's time to take our equity and move on.
Yeah.
Let's go do something different. Yeah. So we'll see inventory freeing up, but we're also going to see buyer demand rise. It's going to cause that pricing to go up again. So I think right now, great time to buy. Yeah. Just a phenomenal time to buy. Not that it's a horrible time to sell, because it's not. There's serious buyers out there.
What do you think is a sweet spot for interest rates for the housing market side?
Honestly, I think that 5.5 that Keith is at, that's healthy. That's truly healthy.
Yeah.
I think that if we start seeing more 5.5s, 5%, we're going to have a rocking and rolling freaking market.
That's what I think. Especially back to what, going back to what we're talking about, interest rates is the only way that sucks up the money supply. I think anything below that 5.5 is just hurting us and probably cause a craziness to happen again. If anything starts with a 4, personally, I think it's going to go wild again. But
it'll go wild, but it won't be a healthy wild.
No, it won't be. And to keep a steady, healthy housing market here, I think we got to be in that, like you said, 5.5%. But we are back with Compass and Rocket partnership. I know we're talking about this the other week about Compass acquiring Anywhere, and now there's been a whole thing on the real estate side. Compass was originally trying to create their own portal. However, obviously, as you can imagine, it was met with scrutiny because they couldn't be shown to the general public, right? But they tried to go with Zillow originally to partner with them to show their exclusive listings, but Zillow said no, they didn't want it. So what they do, they ended up going with Rocket Redfin, right? Rocket companies announced a 3-year alliance with Compass that could add 500,000 listings to Redfin and embed new mortgage incentives. A bunch of their coming soon listings will immediately appear on Redfin with private exclusives properties to follow. And so with that, the Compass has spent the past couple of years doubling down on its pre-marketing strategy, giving sellers the option to test pricing and demand before going live on the actual MLS. What are your thoughts, Stan?
As a realtor, I think it's kind of slimy. As a consumer, I get where they're coming from. They're trying to create, at least from a free enterprise standpoint, something that differentiates them from everybody else, from all the white noise. Yeah. So, if you've been watching any of our podcasts, we talked about the MLS, and I'm not a huge fan of the MLS. Yeah. I'm really not. I think that we need a national, worldwide MLS that just all the brokerages put their shit into, and the consumer can see it all. Yeah. So I see what they're trying to do. Like I said, I think it's a little bit on the slimy side, honestly, but I don't blame them, because I am pro free enterprise, pro business, and if you can stand out from the crowd, you got to do it. Yeah.
And I think they took a step back to try to take a step forward, because obviously they're trying to do their whole own MLS system or their own portal system, but that kind of isolated them.
It did,
in a sense of, this is what we have. This is all. We're not going to show anyone. We're going to keep it close to our chest, right? And as a seller, I don't know anyone who would only want to be exposed to only a portion of the market with people who are directly tied with the whole Anywhere brand and Compass brand, right? As opposed to everyone else who isn't. We have so many different brokerages out there and different agents with other brokerages that wouldn't have access to it, and sellers wouldn't have access to it. Like you said, it creates that free enterprise of they're trying to differentiate themselves for people to come to them. But also I think it's a hindrance for the seller's part to for that to occur.
Right, because the bottom line is the seller just wants their house sold.
Yep.
And they want the most exposure possible. And if indeed they're going to do this, then it really doesn't give you the most exposure possible.
Yeah.
So, as an agent that might be under that umbrella, that's going to be a question they're going to have to be faced to answer, and they're going to have to figure out a workaround.
Mm-hmm.
So, all you sellers out there, you do a really good job interviewing your agents, and you find out exactly where your house is going to be marketed at, and how that affects you, because that's really the most important part of it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like you said, they only care about getting the most amount of money for their house possible, right?
Mm-hmm. And the most exposure.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think this is a good step to try to get away from the MLS and trying to create your own portal, because someone has to do it, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's a great step to start that snowball, but we're not there yet of it being something to get away completely from the MLS.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Hopefully we'll get there one day. Hopefully your dreams will come true. But we're not there yet, and at least someone's taking steps forward to do it. But going off to Trump and his State of the Union, he had a big old speech. I don't know if you watched it. It was over 2 hours. But one main thing that he hit on was there was a bill that was recently passed by the House called the Housing for the 21st Century Act. And this was shocking to see that had massive bipartisan support of our congressmen, which I am surprised on. I think only like less than 10 congressmen voted against it. So it shows you that this bill, which really what it has is it's eliminating a lot of red tape and bureaucracy from the process of buying a house and giving more financial tools for lenders to be able to finance on houses. That's the gist of this bill. It's supposed to help us free up a lot of demand and a lot of people being able to purchase home, right? Trump said that he doesn't want to make it easier to buy a house because he doesn't want people who've earned their equity for living in their house for so long to lose that equity. He wants to keep housing prices high and buying power easier. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think anything that's gonna positively affect our market is a good thing.
Yeah.
It really is. Anytime we can cut red tape and make the process simpler for buyers and for sellers, I'm all for it. 100%.
Agreed.
So, I mean, I still truly believe that homeownership is the best path for wealth that there is. And it can be done by anybody.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my wife and I bought our first house when we were she was 19 and I was 12. I'm just kidding. I was 21 and we bought our first house, and man, we were super proud of it. I mean, we went from, a place with axles on it to a place that had a foundation. So we were stoked. And we held on to that house until I think we finally sold that house. We moved into our second house in like 2005, but we kept that house for a rental, and we had that thing for another 10 years before we finally sold it.
Nice.
We had a ton of equity in it. It was practically paid for. It was freaking awesome. So it helped us do some other things in our life. So yeah, I think, like I said, the simpler the process is, the better.
Yeah, agreed. Limited government to the absolute lowest.
Yes.
We don't need their hands in everything.
No. And
I was trying to find out if the Treasury Department ever defined what an institutional investor was, because that deadline of 30 days has come and gone, but I could not find anything about Trump's executive order to ban institutional investors. And we're still waiting.
So we don't know if a guy who has 10 houses
exactly
is an institutional investor, or if it's a subsidiary, lower of BlackRock.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about on that podcast, is like, how do you define it? Which I totally get is a hard thing to define.
It is, yeah.
Because you don't want to ixnay the mom and pops landlords who have 10 houses that they're renting out. We want people, the the BlackRocks, the Vanguards, or whatever, those institutional
Conglomerates,
investors, not to be in the market,
for sure.
to have this unlimited cash to just throw around.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
we saw a couple interesting reels on Instagram the last week that we thought we'd bring up and talk about.
Love the Insta.
Well, Stan, you sent me this one about the Portland Marriott Riverfront.
Yes.
What'd you think about it? Let me know. Do you want me to talk about it, or you want to talk about it?
It was a big, beautiful hotel, still is, right on the river in Portland, Oregon, blue state. Who's made a lot of bad decisions, and that was 2013 that
It bought for $81 million.
81 million, and just the beginning of this year sold for 30
million.
Wow. That's and the guy that posted the reel, I don't have his name, he was saying that that's a glimpse of how Portland real estate is going right now as far as commercial goes. And I believe it, because Seattle's the same way.
Yeah.
The big cities, in fact, I think I just saw in Chicago, there was one high-rise building, commercial building, that it sold for literally pennies on the dollar compared to what it was worth and what it did sell for like in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing that in a lot of the big cities.
Mm-hmm.
Here, commercial's doing incredible, but we're not a big, huge, high population city environment either. But it's still shocking how much commercial is in our little neck of the woods. So we got into the discussion on that, on what leads what. Like, does residential lead commercial? Does the collapse of commercial affect residential? And I've always believed that residential is what spurs on commercial, because the commercial follows where the people are at. You need services, you need grocery stores,
Mm-hmm.
gas stations as populations grow.
Yeah.
So, and that's a completely different topic, but zoning issues come into play then, because it's like, oh shit, we didn't zone enough commercial space for all these residential places that we put into play. So that at least that's what I've always believed.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, now as we're talking about it, I think in today's modern world, where people could work literally from anywhere, working remote, you're not necessarily tied to a specific location. When we were first talking about it, I thought that commercial brought in residential, because obviously if you have a mine in the Silver Valley, that's not something you can do remotely. You need people there. So if a mine opens up, that's when it spurs on the residential. Yeah, there might be a couple of houses there around it already, but that spurs on the residential side of things. So employment on that commercial side, I think, spurs on the residential, which then spurs on the subsidiary commercial properties that you're talking about, like grocery stores,
gas stations, restaurants. Sure.
So
I can see that. I can totally see that. I mean, I grew up in the Silver Valley, grew up right by Lucky Friday Mine.
Yeah.
And yes, the effects of the mine hiring and stuff has totally affected the population of Mullen.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I mean, when I was in high school, the mines were doing great in the 80s. And I think the population of Mullen was close to, at one time, it was probably close to 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And then the mines went kaput.
Yep.
And by the time I graduated, the population started dropping. And now I think the population of Mullen's like 600 people.
Yeah.
But silver's up.
Yep.
Silver's up. So we're expecting, all this influx of people to go to Mullen, Wallace, Kellogg, Silverton, Smelterville, all the places over there. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that gets affected. Yeah. In the meantime, residential has consistently grown over there at a nominal pace, a more consistent pace, instead of, a big influx because the mines are doing great and then a drop off.
Yeah.
Because affordability has been fantastic over there. I mean, you can still buy a family home, so to speak, 4-bedroom, couple baths for $350,000 on a decent lot in Kellogg.
Yeah.
So that's always attracted people.
Yeah.
And as people have moved over there because they can't afford a home,
Mm-hmm.
a Walmart went in,
Yeah.
and then now a Maverick's going
Yeah.
in, and all these things have happened without the
Yeah.
mines growing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm right.
Yeah. I think on your point too, especially here with the whole working remote, so many people have come here, spurring on new construction and residential side of things that spurred on the commercial side. Right.
Mhm.
And so
Yes.
I can see it both ways. If you have one big employer, obviously I think that spurs it on first. But if you have people who are coming from wherever working remotely and being able to, because a lot of the people that came here pushed out a lot of the locals that were here now that are going to Mullen and going to a Kellogg because
Right.
it's more affordable. And so that's why they're going over there and making that commute over here.
Mhm.
And so
Does make sense.
I can see both ways.
All right. So post in the comments and tell us what you think. And, say Stan's right.
Yeah. But on that, last week we were talking about Washington versus Idaho, and we saw something interesting that Washington is trying to implement as a state. They're trying to incorporate an energy rating when it comes to selling your house. And so what that means is
That was real easy. That was real easy.
I those yeah.
I thought it was fake.
No.
I thought it was fake news.
What? To my research, I think it was real. And also, I was talking about reels like on Instagram, the videos.
Yeah.
But I think it's real. Don't fact check me. You can't fact check me. Let me know.
I will. I'm going to fact check you.
But no, I'm not sure if it has been imposed or something that they're proposing is an energy rating that when it comes to buying or when it comes to selling your house, you have to get a government, department to come in and evaluate the functionality of your home for the energy compliance of your furnace, your roof, your insulation,
your windows, the R factor of your home, the insulation factor.
And so they'll give you a rating from 1 to 100, and if you're more and something that has to be disclosed when you're going to sell your house. And if you're on the lower side, they didn't specify what number on the lower side, you will have to make necessary repairs and improvements to get the score up to be able to sell it.
Is it?
Pretty much getting the government's approval to be able to sell your house to someone else.
I do not know what the hell is going on with that state. That's all I can say. I mean, I am going to fact check you.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fake, like a Saturday Night Live skit or something.
No, it was a news broadcast, and I don't know the guy's name, but I've seen him many a time.
All right.
So
we're going to find out if that's true.
Yep.
If that's true, I think that's just extremely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, some of the best opportunities in real estate are houses that are like turn of the century, downtown Coeur d'Alene, that have a great location and it's a POS house, built in 1902 with, newspaper insulation walls that have settled to the floor and there's nothing going on there. Baseboard heat at best. Most of them don't even have that. They have a wood stove.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's a great buy, especially because the lot value is incredible. Mm-hmm. So what are they going to do there? You're going to make somebody upgrade their house before they sell, or they're going to get dinged for not meeting the current code? That's dumb. That didn't even make sense to me.
So that also doesn't make sense for people going in that same scenario to go flip that house or tear it down and build a new one. Like, how is that seller supposed to go in and fix all that stuff?
Exactly.
Try to resell it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So.
That's
Washington being Washington.
That's somebody really thinking outside the box there.
But that's all. There's been a bunch of reels that I saw as well about Washington State, but I'm not gonna get into it on this one. Maybe another one. We'll just have a whole scrolling section maybe one time of all the stuff that we see going on there.
Right. On the flip side of things, if you guys see anything out there that you want to talk about or want us to discuss or talk about, definitely hit us up, post a comment. We'll check them. If promise we will. We'll get back with you. And yeah, I mean, or even something about Idaho.
Yeah.
So, because, Idaho's not perfect either.
No, it's not. But we love our little slice of paradise here.
We do. We absolutely do. And compared to Washington and Oregon, it's damn close to perfect.
That's all we got for you guys, folks. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right. See ya.